This video is brought to you by StoneAgeGamer.com, a fantastic site for retro games, systems, accessories, and more. Be sure to check out StoneAgeGamer.com. Skip it up and that up! What's going on, guys? Rich of Review Tech USA. Unfortunately, this is take two. My first take of doing this video was awesome, but for some reason my capture software decided to use the built-in Logitech microphone to record the audio, and it sounded unbearable. This is a topic a lot of you guys wanted me to talk about the past few days. It was discussed on Facebook, which again, that link to my Facebook page for Review Tech USA is below in the description. I strongly suggest you check it out. That's where I interact with my subs the most, and we always have discussions there, and people send me things to talk about, and they say, hey, Rich, talk about this. So it's a great way. I use Twitter too, but honestly, Twitter not as much. So if you really want to interact and talk about different topics with me, go to Facebook on my Review Tech USA Facebook page. But a lot of you guys asked me to talk about Mark from Classic Game Room returning to YouTube. That and CGR Undertow. Both of them are coming back to YouTube, and he made the announcement he's doing like a Nintendo 64 week, and you want me to discuss my feelings on it. Well, the first thing I'll say, as a subscriber of Mark's, I think it's awesome. I'm glad he's back on YouTube. I work on YouTube. I'm on the website a lot because of that, and it's nice. It's simple. I could just, now I'll see his new reviews in my subscription box, and then I'll click on them and watch them. So I'm excited from a subscriber's perspective. I think that's cool. Now, from a business perspective, looking at it like Mark, it's probably bittersweet for him. I'm sure he's happy to come back because, let's face it, you know, there's more traffic on YouTube, and more traffic equals more money, and his wallet will be more padded. I'm sure he's not going to complain about that. But the reason I say it's bittersweet is that when the whole November debacle happened, okay, and the whole Content ID thing happened, and he said he was going over to ClassicGameRoom.com, I have a feeling Mark was hoping that Classic Game Room was a strong enough entity in and of itself that it didn't need YouTube anymore. I think he was hoping that, okay, I've been doing this, I think, since 2000. I mean, he's had Classic Game Room since 1999. I know that. He was on a website back then streaming video, like before even people thought about it. But he came back on YouTube in 2008. So he's been doing this since 2008. I think he was hoping that since he's been doing it for 6 years, that people would go to ClassicGameRoom.com. He built up enough of a following, and he would be okay. It didn't happen. Now, obviously, because I do this for a living, I pay attention to my stats. I pay attention to other people's stats to see what's going on with user-generated content. And I would check out, you know, ClassicGameRoom.com. I would check out Dailymotion, and I could see he wasn't getting the views he would get on YouTube. So I think he was probably a little frustrated with that. Yes, obviously people were asking him to come back, but think about it this way. If he was getting the same amount of traffic going through ClassicGameRoom.com and going through Dailymotion, he would have stayed there, and he would have just kept on building that up. So I think that frustrated him. I mean, like I said, I'm sure he's excited to come back, but at the same time, I'm sure that he was hoping that Classic Game Room would have had its own two legs to not have to use YouTube. And that leads into something else too. YouTube, this is proof again, besides the fact there's a bunch of articles out there proving that YouTube's still growing, making more money, so on and so forth. It's proof that YouTube isn't dying. Right now, YouTube is the de facto standard for people to look for user-generated content. There's nothing else out there right now that compares to it. In the future, there may be. Actually, no, there'll definitely be. It's always how it goes. You know, websites come and go, and something improves upon someone else's concept. But right now, YouTube is the place to go. And unfortunately, the other thing, too, is that we're creatures of habit, okay? I'm a hypocrite. I did the same thing everyone else did. I remember when Mark first said, okay, he's going over to Classic Game Room, and that's where they're going to post reviews. And I was like, yeah, I'll definitely go support Mark at ClassicGameRoom.com. Ask me how many times I went there. Probably 2 or 3 times. Was I doing it to be a dick? No. It's just I'm on YouTube all the time. I'm caught up in work. I would just forget to go check out ClassicGameRoom.com. And the next thing you know, it's 4 or 5 months later, and Mark's returning to YouTube, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't support him the way I wanted to. we're creatures of habit. It's tough to get us out of our routines. It's tough to make us change. I'm just as guilty of it. So and that's frustrating too, because when I think about it, that's why Review Tech USA to make a website. I have a website. You guys obviously know I had a whole big thing. I had a community manager running it for a little while, but I'm not going to make that my main focus. And when I see things like this happen, it kind of makes me realize that, yeah, I do need a website. That's why I'm keeping it, and eventually I'll get that going again. But it's tough to stand on your own 2 feet unless you're like a major, like IGN-sized, GameSpot-sized, corporate review, news, whatever website, review site. It's tough to be competitive. It's tough to stand out from the crowd unless you're on another site owned by Google like YouTube. So I'm happy to see him back. Mark is the reason that, he's a huge reason that inspired me to start Review Tech USA. I was watching him before I even made videos, but I'm sure looking at it through his eyes, he's probably a little, like I said, mixed on it. It's probably bittersweet for him. I think he was hoping for a little bit of a different outcome, but hey, man, Classic Game Room, I'm sure, isn't going anywhere, and I'm glad to see him back, and I'm looking forward to see the reviews he does and the CGR Undertow team does. Try to say that 3 times fast. All right, folks, make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and as always, thank you for supporting Review Tech USA. Have a good one.